and not only to supporting, throwing our way behind the emergence of Pastor Osaide Izeyamo as the governor of Edo State come September 10th. On the strength of this, we are gathered today to come and officially endorse him as the right candidate and the right person to steady the affairs of Edo State after the gubernatorial election. On the strength of this, I welcome all of you, and we are indeed very happy. And the purpose of politics is not only within the conference of Edo State, but outside the shores of Nigeria too. And that is what we represent here today, to come and reason and see how we can, contribute meaningfully to the political development of growth in Edo State, especially at this very point in time that the Edo State people will be voting. We are indeed very happy that we're part of this cause, and we do believe that in the fullness of time, and God on our side, our dream will come true, that Pastor Osaide Izeyamo emerges as the governor of Edo State. And I thank you and I welcome all of you, and God bless. And I would like to call on our dear brother, a writer who knows his onions and has been in this game for a very long time. This other person than Mr. John Darlington Ujora.
We are gathered under the auspices of the EDO State Patriots chapter. The coordinator, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we bring you tidings from Pastor Izeyamo, who could not be here in person on this historic day. The Tapios here with us in the spirit. It is not news why we call this August version. Most of us, rather than being participant observers in the unfolding democratic scenario in Nigeria, Edo State in particular, have resolved with one accord, under the auspices of their good name, to identify and join forces with men of vision to bring about a change of power from the student left wing, under whose yoke our people have grown for the past 8 calendar years. We decided to intervene, having patiently and anxiously watched distressing events as they marvelously unfold in the course of our nation's history. We have before now not thought as complex as Nigeria is, that one day a man who seemingly wears absolute powers would emerge using coercive state agents to crush dissenting voices such as we hear and experience today. We only read in history books about men who had used absolute powers, and one never thought it could be possible again. After standing toe and toe with the military, which ruled over Nigeria with a caprice, but little did we know we were wallowing in the pool of ignorance. In fact, what we thought would never be possible in our homeland is what is playing out today under the guise of prosecuting its selective anti-graft war. Despots the world over often adduce reasons for their despicable actions. And that is what is at play in Nigeria today. Some Nigerians now live in perpetual fear, not knowing on whose tongue the big stick being wielded by Buhari would crushingly descend under the guise of cleansing the proverbial urgent staples. Casting a costly glance at the legendary Solomon, who lived between 640 and 560 BC, one would doubtless take his warning to heart about the sun and snow springs from the cloud, and thunder from the fire of lightning. Strong men destroy a city, and the tyrant enslaves the people through their ignorance. A sheep bullet, unquote. Near the end of his life, we read, Solomon warned the citizens of Persistratus, the general in the final war for Salamis, and leader of northeastern Attica, was becoming tyrannical. Yet, Solon's warnings were dismissed with trivial hand, and the rant, as the rantings, I'm sorry, my eyes, were dismissed with trivial hand and the rantings of a raving lunatic. But over time, events proved him right when legislators did show his true tyrannical colors. A similar scenario is dangerously unfolding in Nigeria. President Buhari has been found consistently flouting the Nigerian law to favor him and members of his immediate constituency, as his often court hands down on several occasions, abusing political powers. He has made dangerous incursions lately on the legislative arm of government for the devil to pay. And this is what we all resolutely resisted in the dark days of military rule in Nigeria, that necessitated our sudden flight from our homeland to different parts of the world, as the state coercive agents were sent after us at the period under SAD review. Brutal repression, who we had thought would start a new course for Nigeria, only returned to scatter with a raid what took us oceans of time together with Damascus. What is more disturbing under the existing circumstances is that Nigeria and its government. I will start here by drawing Nigeria's attention to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was one of the Dandeco chieftains. The National Democratic Coalition, a pro-democracy group, fought to end the tyrannical rule in Nigeria, and Tinubu was at the forefront in the dark days of this pro-democracy struggle. As luck would have it, the forces of light triumphed, and we carried the day. Tinubu fought doggedly to the admiration of all. And shortly after the fight began to yield the desired dividends, he entered the political alliance with the northern homogenic bourgeois that brought about a change of government in Nigeria. We had hoped for a better life, but only to discover that we have engaged the court in an agonizing web of a tribe of egocentric loners who are bent on not other than their personal aggrandizement. In an attempt to cover up his misdeeds and irredeemable mortal sins against Nigeria, we often see Tinubu running here and there, justifying many harrowing blunders capable of triggering off a revolution, knowing full well he would be hard hit, as many Nigerians are tacitly filled with resentment for his culpable and ignominious rule in the obviously sad situation ravaging Nigeria today. I wonder how he will extricate himself and escape when this brewing resentment against him eventually snowballs into a full-blown crisis in Nigeria. Homer, they say, sometimes knows. Much as we believe that Tinubu is a man and could err in some of his actions, it is for him to openly confess his mistakes, which now tell ruinously on everyone, and Nigerians in the diaspora inclusive. The cost of running our homes, you will all agree with me, has quadrupled, with little or nothing left with us there to settle our bills. Life has never been the same again over here since Buhari assumed the reins of power through the agency of the Babylon overlord. Tinubu has made many provocative statements lately to cover up his culpable misdeeds against Nigeria, Jack clever blame game of the Jonathan administration. He has heard that the previous administration is one vast empire of corruption. Casting a glance at corruption perception index, many advanced nations still fight corruption to this day, but that does not bring government business to a standstill without viable economic policies to reconstruct the country. Before the advent of PDP in 1999, Nigeria had been rocked by a massive corruption scandal, which Buhari denied, calling to mind the statement credited to him about the billions of our taxpayers' money Abacha stole and stashed away in foreign bank votes. Buhari did vehemently say Abacha did not steal, but one wonders how he often comports himself when Abacha's loot is increasingly being released by foreign governments and returned to the country. In advanced democracies, that is enough for him to resign, if you ask me, as that makes him an accessory after the fact of money laundering operations. How many Nigerians have been chided him for this? No one has said. Most disturbing is the fact that Nigeria has never been this polarized before Buhari assumed office as Nigeria's democratically elected civilian president. Only recently, it made news headlines across the world when the Sultan of Sokoto raised an alarm that the ban on imported rice should be urgently lifted as hunger reduces Nigeria. Tinubu has never lent his voice to calls like this, but often makes statements to assuage the ruffled feelings of the pauperized masses that Jonathan is responsible for the zero, let me use the pedestrian talents, 011, 001, and sometimes 010 frequency on which many homes operate in Nigeria these days. But we never had it this bad during Jonathan days. Tinubu will sooner attribute this to the money stolen from the public till by the immediate past PDP government than incompetence and mediocrity of the ruling All Progressives Congress. Who were these politicians before they ask? Over 75% of them make up the ruling All Progressive Congress today. Little wonder the outgoing British Prime Minister described Nigeria as fantastically corrupt. These same men dine and wine with Buhari, who is flooding with an overinflated sense of self-worth. If Buhari is genuinely fighting corruption, the likes of Amechi, Tinubu, Fashola, Okorocha, and Oshomole, then his chief of army staff, to mention but a few, have no business being in a government that is supposedly prosecuting an anti-graft war, if we need reminding. The primary duty of any government is to develop the country by formulating viable economic policies. We have had economic recessions in the past when the price of crude oil fell sharply as a result of a glut in the international market. Nigeria returned to civil democratic rule in 1999 after the prodigal years of military rule. Obasanjo inherited a country saddled with a massive debt burden, and without apportioning blames, delved into work immediately by assembling an economic team made up of competent technocrats, paid off Nigeria's debts, and built up the foreign reserve up to the tune of $40 billion before President Yar'Adua came to power, who unfortunately died with his boots on. Ladies and gentlemen, I would at this juncture crave your indulgence to bear with me as I draw this analogy between the immediate past and present administration for the benefit of non-Nigerians, if any, in our midst. Jonathan took over and carried on from where his predecessor stopped, but that government was hijacked by taxi threats from every quarter, so much so that serving ministers often refused orders from the man supposedly at the helm as part of the ill-conceived covert operations to unseat an iniquitous regime, in invited commas, which was eventually achieved through the instrumentality of the ballot box via doctored election results, particularly from the desert city of Kano, allegedly masterminded and hatched by former Governor Rabi Kwankwaso. This makes him an accomplice with Bola Tinubu for actively partaking in the ill-conceived plot to upturn and eventually bastardize the sovereign wishes of the Nigerian people, which I dare say is tantamount to a civilian coup d'etat. There is no denying the fact that Nigerians live better lives under the PDP-controlled government. Buhari has before now asserted that no Nigerian is above the law, which he probably drew from his leftist ideology. But we have learned to our dismay, that he lied yet again, because if explained at push us dangerously close to total despotism, because disingenuously he claims that all is equal, but he actually decides who should establish the rules for this equality, as he single-handedly controls the courts and all the security apparatus. I wish to draw your attention to a book titled A Splendor of Letters, authored by Nicholas Brasbens, which reminds us of the dictatorial word of Orwell in 1984, that a morally corrupt government maintains absolute power by systematically depriving its subjects of their identities and by denying them any hope of a cultural legacy. Today in Nigeria, it is no news that we have lost the briefcase of diversity and the genus of individual creativity, a pauperized and hunger nation, blessed with abundant human and natural resources, only crossing page set by centralized planning, red tapeism, rules without responsibility, and regimentation without a cause. Many people have been arraigned by the Nigerian anti-graft body, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, for diverting the money made for arms procurement and for funding PDP campaign with public funds in the run-up to 2015 general election. While I support and throw my weight behind the ongoing anti-graft war, we insist with all the emphasis at our command that this fight must be all-inclusive if it is anything to go by. The source of Buhari's campaign fund we had written before now and was widely reported by the world press, probed in the true spirit of equality before the law. For every man, they often say, is born free and therefore equal in right and dignity. Our patience have been tested and overstretched for too long, and the need for the Buhari regime in Abuja to do the needful keeps coming like a recurring decimal, no matter how surreptitiously he tries to suppress this. If Buhari does not do this today, another person will certainly revisit this crime scene when Buhari leaves office, hopefully before long. For power you hold today is like a transit cold spell. There is no stating the obvious that over 65% Nigerians whose votes installed this government in Nigeria have been briefly forced into a vote farce. Nigerians cannot live normal lives. Some have become endangered species in their places of nativity, since their whole existence is disrupted day by day by the perverse nature of a regime that employs the propaganda machinery and the impunity of political police in a despotic version of socialism, typical of a totalitarian state that ends up destroying private lives. We have had an armed invasion of communities by armed robbers and herders, leaving behind scenes of sorrow, tears and blood, and media campaigns to denounce this culpable and spark of ill feelings from the natives of the Hemogenic region, calling to mind the recent invasion of Benue and Enugu states, where many villages were sacked and residents murdered in cold blood. There is no denying the fact they are embodied to commit these dastardly acts, because that is who is our own is at the head. I remember the police anywhere in southern Nigeria often pull the trigger once you have discovered the possession of a firearm during their routine stop and search operations without waiting for explanation. But these nomadic herders go about armed with automatic rifles and other dangerous weapons, carrying out crimes of varying degrees, including armed robbery, on which the police often turn a blind eye because their own is at the hand. The Nigerian gullible public has been fed with heinous lies to extenuate their inability to perform. Like we said before at the beginning of this piece, the Buhari-led administration has resorted to play the blame game to misrepresent facts, employing the lineage of our Lai Mohammed, the Minister of Information and Culture. The fact is that he finds himself failing at every turn because he has woefully failed to employ competent economic managers to run the economy. Buhari is a man bound by oath to avenge the wrongs inflicted on the North, and in pursuit of revenge, he will stop at nothing until every dissenting voice is brutally crushed. You know, as well as we know, that for every line told today to cover up his misdeeds or incompetence, there is always an expiring date. And this propaganda machine becomes seized up once the expiring date, like a silly ship, appears on the horizon. If we must live together as one, there are many ways to avoid conflicts, and the black man's language is a life characterized by political turbulence and violence. Like such we have in Nigeria today. Little wonder President Bota gave a graphic picture of the black man, which people refer to as the hate speech, be that as it may. What is playing out in Nigeria today is not different from the surreal images employed by the late white South African leader to describe the black man. Below is the speech allegedly made by former South African President P.W. Botha to his cabinet over 2 decades ago. And I quote, we are not obliged, even the least, to try to prove to anybody and to the blacks that we are superior people. We have demonstrated that to the blacks in 1001 ways. The Republic of South Africa that we know of today has not been created by wishful thinking. We have created it at the expense of intelligence, sweat, and blood. We do not pretend like other whites that we like blacks. The fact that blacks look like human beings and act like human beings do not necessarily make them sensible human beings. Hedgehogs are not porcupines, and lizards are not crocodiles, because they look alike. If God had wanted us to be equal to the blacks, He would have created us all of a different color and intellect. But He created us differently: whites, blacks, colored, rulers, and the ruled. Intellectually, we are superior to the blacks, and that has been proven beyond any reasonable doubt over the years. I believe that the African, which is the white South Africans, that are honest, God-fearing, who have demonstrated practically the right way of being. By now, every one of us has seen it practically that the blacks cannot rule themselves. Give them guns, they will kill themselves, they will kill each other. They are good at nothing else but making a noise, dancing, marrying many wives, indulging in sex. Let us all accept that the black man is a symbol of poverty, mental inferiority, laziness, and emotional incompetence. The average black does not plan his life beyond a year. Unquote. How many Nigerian leaders, both past and present, genuinely have the intention to lead? How many Nigerian leaders, both past and present, have the will to render selfless service to regenerate the country? How many Nigerian leaders are genuinely committed to the unity of Nigeria? What we see is a particular region and tribe assuming superiority over other regions, while they forget Nigeria was welded together by the amalgamation of different ethnic nationalities, which of course have the right for self-determination should they be no longer comfortable in the contraption. As powerful as the Soviet Union, the fact that agricultural infrastructure is critical to our economic development and a clue to the unemployed problem in the state. But the lack of my years of acquaintance with him, who could never be swayed by innovative tribal maneuvers. In fact, trying to describe this iconic figure in Nigerian letters, it is doubtless trying to contrast several contradictions and finally arrive at a tingly melody. He's one man for all I know, whose words and actions are not only deeply philosophical, prosely challenging, but decidedly radical. Why does this man stand so tall in people's hearts, if you ask me? He remains a living example of what man could ever be and what he could ever accomplish in the realm of excellence and virtue. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind you once again that come September 10th, as we go to the polls to elect a new leader for Edo State, let us all have it at the back of our mind that the only man who is capable of regenerating our own state, who is capable of reconstructing Edo State, is none other than Pastor Israel Iyamo. So tell the people back to elect a leader.
We want to thank you very much, and officially we'll be introducing ourselves. I'd like to start from my right hand side.
My name's Mr. Emiato Omo Augustine. I'm from Esa Northeast Local Government, Oromi, supporting Pastor Israel Iyamo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Osagi Charles from Edo State. I'm fully, equally supporting Pastor Osagi Iyamo.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Lucky Chinky, born in Edo State. As a matter of fact, the only way Edo can move forward is to let a man that know what they do like really needed. And that's why I'm supporting Pastor Israel Iyamo. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brown Awo. I'm in support of Pastor Osagi Iyamo. I'm from Benin.
Titi Wana,
I'm Scott Yosifo, Edo State, supporting Pastor Osagi.
Hi, I'm Daisy Osakwe, Iradia Osakwe's daughter. I'm from Edo State, Billy. I live in Italy, but I'm supporting Isaiah.
My name is Kenneth Ogano. I'm from Huonde local government, and I give my support to Pastor Isaiah.
I have already been introduced. Go ahead. All right, I'm Cordia Jordan, the coordinator of PDP Frontier Italy chapter, and I'm part of the sensitization team to present Isaiah to the people of Edo State who are resident in Italy. And it is our interest and desire that as you go out on that day, September 10th, to cast your ballot, to cast your vote for Pastor Osagi Iyamu. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Odiagbe Lawrence. I'm from the Southwest local government area, Ebo. I'm an Edo State indigene and I live here in Italy. And I'm a pioneer member of the PDP, a one-time youth president in Ward 5 of Eastern West local government, Ebo. I'm Pastor Isaiah basically because of his fundamental beliefs and values in our state. The past years of Governor Shomole has proven beyond reasonable doubt that the people of Edo State, we are tired and fed up of his way of governance. In one of his publications I read, he said, and I quote, he said, "I will not hand over to an opposition leader." That is what he said. I read it in the publication. And I want to say quickly that such a statement was not democratic. In a democratic setting such as Edo State, we are hoping and believing that we will have another Ambrose Ali who gave us the opportunity to be educated. And that is why we are endorsing this man, Pastor Osagi Iyamu, for government.
I am Iradia Osakwe. Our purpose for Edo State is for us to have a viable community, a workable community, a state where we can work freely without fear, a state where we cannot be oppressed, where we cannot have a repressive leader. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that the person that can bring about positive development, a rapid one indeed, is no other person than the man that I'm supporting, Pastor Osagi Iyamu. I have a song for him. Ade Noda, Ade Noda, Ade Noda, Osagi Iyamu, Ade Noda.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Honorable Joseph Ebremula from Eastern Northeast in Edo State. I throw my weight behind Pastor Isaiah as the governor of Edo State, and I urge our parents back home to cast their vote, use their vote wisely, because the era of political maneuver is gone. Nigeria, Edo-lites back home, they are no longer interested in the little bags of rice, the bag of salt, the unnecessary promises you give. We are no longer interested. What we are after is the man who has a vision for the people of Edo State. So based on this, I am throwing my weight strongly on Pastor Iyamu as governor of Edo State come September 10, 2016. Thank you very much.
I'm Odoli Osumbo, a born of Benin soil, and I've known Pastor Iyamu for a very long time. This time of democracy, we want a real democracy, not a demonstration of grace that has been happening. You see the past government, they've been demonstrating craze or crazy demonstration. Right now with Pastor Osage Zeyamu, we're going to experience real democracy for the children unborn and for the betterment of our children and the youth in Nigeria as a whole, not only Edo State. So Pastor Osage Zeyamu is the person that we're going to back up because of his education and his orientation. So we, the people of Edo State, we stood there with the EDO Patriots of Italy to put our support in Osage Zeyamu, and we are standing solidly behind him. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Efe Otabo. I am from Ward 2 of Ego local government. Like 2007, I was the youth leader of PDP, Ward 2. That's the leader. So I am throwing my weight behind Pastor Osage Zeyamu for so many reasons, because we've had like 7 to 8 years now of the kind of leadership that we don't really want in Edo State, because I want to describe it as, let me use the word authoritarian, because he's been, our present governor is being like a leader that is satisfied. If you're a leader and you're an achiever, or someone that wants to work, I don't think you can be satisfied. You always want to know what your people and your followers want. So I quote him in a statement he made that he can even go to South, even Delta State, or some other states, and go there and win all the PDP state, which means you hope and you believe that you've done something that will make you to even go to another state and you are not the origin and go and win there. Meanwhile, 70 to 80% of Edo State are yearning for more infrastructural development. So for that, I would like to have a leader that will want to work and do more and ask more from people so that he can do for them. So with that, I'm throwing my weight behind Pastor Osage Zeyamu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dick Festus Omosebo. I'm from Edo State, born and bred in Benin, though I'm based in Italy. I'm supporting Pastor Zeyamu.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin to champion the cause of Pastor Osage Zeyamu in Italy, we must put our hands must be on deck. We must do our best possible to see that those at home, and many of us that are in Italy, but we know that in Italy, the hub of Edo State indigenes is here in Italy. So because of that, we have to work assiduously so that we will reach out to the people here, and the people here will now in turn talk to their ones at home that come on the 10th of September, they should not fail to vote for Pastor Osage Zeyamu. This is our drive to sensitize our people about the need of having a positive change in Edo State, and that change has to come, and the change is already now. On the strength of this, we encourage all of you, we beg all of you to begin to preach the gospel of Pastor Osage Zeyamu anywhere you go, so that by